All right, everybody. We are live with our Season 5, Episode 8, Game of Thrones After Show. My name's Matt, and the guy up here is Dan.
Also known as Chad Baratheon, estranged brother to the Baratheon family. I own my own dealership. Over to the other side of me, I think I'm pointing the right way. I still mess this up every time.
No, you're good.
That guy over there with the hat on.
Hey, my name's Opie, and I'll be on top of and riding the entire show.
Yeah.
Guess he's new. He's bald. He's beautiful. Tim, the guy below me.
Yeah,
I did not. I am below you. I did not.
yeah, Dave cannot be with us tonight, so Tim is going to sit in and take his place.
Thanks,
Matt's
Tim.
going to talk for me.
That's right.
I'm Tim. Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Don't be shy.
Tim's one of
Hashtag.
our homies on the nerd punching stuff, and he's awesome. So there, take that.
Ready to go.
Yeah, you've seen Tim on such hits, or on hits such as,
Stunt that or stunt what?
that
You've seen him on
and
things like Stunners and
What?
Snipers. He was an
And-
extra in Final Fantasy XIV Raid Night. He was played healer number 3.
That's
when
right.
he would raid in World of
World
Warcraft.
of Warcraft, right? Right. So we just finished watching this episode, and I didn't breathe for the last third of it
Wow,
because stuff happened.
that's first of all, that's amazing. I think that we should put that in the record books.
Well,
Somebody not breathing that long.
That's how amazing it was. Is I just
Secondly, I am going to say the same thing. You were absolutely right. That was awesome.
it was awesome.
That's pretty freaking sweet.
Well, I guess we'll just go ahead. We'll get to that part,
Yes.
but let's
yes.
get all the other stuff out of the way first. Dan, if you
get
want
it.
to,
I've got my notes.
Yep.
We're ready to do this. Not as many this time because at the end it just says crap went down. So we're going to start with page number 1. Going right into the show, rolling things along. We have Daenerys to Layman with Jordan and Tyrion hanging out. Tyrion's like, "Hey, you sure you want to kill me? I don't think you should. Should I be your advisor? I don't know." It's kind of like a salesman thing. He was trying to
Oh,
play like he had the hand, and his quarter's like, "No, I'll kill you at any moment." He's like, "Well, I don't even know if I want to work for you." So there. So Tyrion's pleading with her. They're discussing stuff. He's telling her, "Listen, you know how to march an army across the lands and do your stuff. You don't know how to play politics. I'm here to help you with that." Well, then it came to the Jorah stuff, and his first question was asked, should Jorah live or not? And he kind of pleads the case for Jorah, but also lets her know, it's like, you can conquer Westeros and do that, but you cannot have him by your side when you do it.
And now,
He's devoted, but
what did he mean by that?
he meant that you can't kill people who are devoted to you, but you also can't have him with you because of what he's done.
Right, because she did mention that how am I supposed to rule? How is a queen supposed to rule if she can't make good on her promises? And she was talking about her promise to kill him if he ever came back. So okay, that makes sense. I mean, he is, and Tyrion's right. He is devoted to her 100%. So she doesn't she shouldn't kill him, but she also needs to stay strong and. Not
she
have
put that
him.
restraining order out, and I think he's going to break it. He's a little bit of a stalker.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have figured that out. Yeah.
He's a little stalkery, but he's got the stone
He's
skin
got
going
a-
on, so he's not going to be around.
Yeah, he's getting the grayscale now. He's going to be a fish soon, and that's what this is going to be his next role. We go from there. We head to Cersei and jail, and it's the best part ever because lady's like, confess. And Cersei's like, I'm going to confess. I'm going to confess.
My favorite part of the entire series. Seeing
was so-
Cersei in the dungeon.
Right.
Oh, I know,
love
man.
it.
Karma.
And she was getting slapped around like a sucker, straight up. That lady was not taking any crap off her. It just was like, okay, well, you're not confessing, I'm leaving, and then slaps her again and heads out the door. But yeah, we get just a quick shot of Cersei.
Not to interrupt you, but the HBO Game of Thrones, her name is Anella. Unel.
Okay, cool. Well, she may be a bigger
And
player.
yeah,
a
she's
little bit later.
a big woman. She's like in the WNBA or something.
She's got to be. Yeah, she's huge.
Her and Brahim, they got to dominate the women's circuit in Westeros. They do exhibition games all the time.
They're tag team
Power
later.
forward.
Dan, why do you call her Brienne?
Huh?
It's Brienne.
Brienne.
Oh, I'm sorry. I always call her Brahim.
Why do you do that?
Because
Because
that's
it's
how it
his
was
English
pronounced.
background. It's his English
It was
heritage.
pronounced that way in the books that I listened to. Thank you very much. So I call it
Oh,
Oh, see, this is
He didn't read the
Sorry.
books. He heard the books.
Sorry.
And that
I
was
love that
actually
you guys make
bad.
fun of that. Like, you can't listen to books in audio versions. Like, why aren't you listening to music and stuff?
That's not what I was saying. I was saying he'd listened to the book by the person who wrote the book, so it was obviously pronounced right.
That's great.
No. It was done by Robert Dutrice, who,
Oh,
or I
okay.
pronounce him Dotrice, is read the books for George R.R. Morty.
Oh, okay. I was thinking that read them. Okay,
No. It was done by somebody else. Anyway, so moving on. My pronunciations are just the way they are.
I just wondered. I'm not criticizing. I was just wondering.
We go to Arya. She's hanging out with Mini Face Man and kind of spinning her own story about Lena. Sorry, my pronunciations again. And the story she's building for this person that she is kind of scoping out or doing something for. She doesn't know what she's doing. She's just doing this bit part. And
this is her training, right?
yes,
right.
Yes. So to
kinda
kind
like
of
what they
blend
did.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of like what they're doing here. It's pretty cool.
Well, see, at first when she was telling her story and then it showed her actually doing it, I actually thought that I didn't think that was actually really happening. So I thought that it was just that she was telling such a good lie that you were seeing what she was imagining.
Right.
But it turns out it was legit.
No, and then she goes back. So the guy tells her, he's like, "Hey, I need you to go right, not left next time. Do your thing." So she goes and she doesn't know what she's looking for, but she gets down there and she starts finding out specifics about certain areas and whatnot. For the what is it called? The tall man, the thin man, whatever. Thin man. So she finds her mark. That's who he wanted her to find, and she's getting set up for her first, I guess, assassination.
I was getting cracked up at the conversation that the other girl was having with him. It's like the way he talks is like, who cares if the girl does the thing and then nobody knows if the thing will get done, and if the thing gets done, it doesn't matter if the thing doesn't get done because she's the girl, and the girl will not matter if she dies, and if the girl dies, if the girl does good. She might be ready, she might not be ready. I don't know. What are you saying? Like,
He's pretty much saying,
He's very vague.
yeah, he's like,
It matters not.
it matters not. Yeah, it does.
If she dies, she dies.
In the words of Rafiki in The Lion King, it doesn't matter. It's in the pot.
How does a man know what a girl will see if a girl doesn't chuck wood?
See.
I don't know.
Maybe
I
make
don't know
things
if
out of
that's
clay.
how that goes. For the
It's a great analogy.
Right. Let's see here. First off, we have Tina and Gino in the chat. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Sorry if it's a little laggy. Gino says it's happening on the other live shows too.
It's not working very well either. Oh, okay. So we're having a little bit of technical difficulties.
I thought it might have been on my end. We had some storms roll in while we were watching this, and I thought it may have jacked up my super fast internet, but I don't know. I'm not. I mean, I can see it playing, so I'm not. Hopefully, it'll get cleared
same
up.
here. I can see it going too, so we're good so far. Anyways, back to the show. Thanks for being here, guys.
Yeah, seriously.
Come on,
Sorry.
live
yeah.
So the next part, we go back to Cersei in jail. Cersei, happy fun time, jail time. The maester, and I forget his name. Somebody got his name?
No, I don't have it.
Okay. He shows up and he brings her news about the trial. Hey, you're getting in trouble. The High Sparrow said you've committed adultery. You've done all kinds of other stuff, incest. There's just stuff going around.
Which I love. That's actually the first time I think that anybody's really just called it all out. You know, and basically said it all. Everything.
Well, now,
everything
yeah,
bad
it's
she's
just
done.
it's just out there. But I mean, it's like he was just telling her what she's being tried for.
Right.
It wasn't like he was just straight there saying, you were doing all the incest stuff. It's all your fault. But he does tell her one thing, though, which totally, I think, kicks her butt. Or she doesn't know if it will or not. Her Uncle Kevin has been called.
Yeah.
Uncle Kevin's back in town. We saw him a few episodes back when he left the
He was not happy.
round table of whatever, the small council.
The small
round
council.
table. Yeah, and now he's back, and he's the hand of the king, and he's running the small council, and she's not very happy about that. Or she at least tells him, "Hey, I need you to come and get him to come over here." He won't. She asks for Tommen. Tommen's not coming.
Nope.
He's not even
He's
eating.
holed up in his room. He's not
That's
eating.
right. Yeah, he's not
Playing Xbox. He's on a binge.
He's in the middle of a big time marathon Call of Duty run,
Yeah,
and he
like-
cannot get out of there.
If my mom's not around, I'm gaming.
That's
Right. He's like, I'm free of my
That's-
mom and I'm free of my wife. Are you
Wow.
serious?
Yes.
Bam!
Bachelor weekend is what he's saying.
Perfect storm.
Yeah.
But he does tell her there is one way she can get out of there, and that's pretty much if you confess, you can go. But of course, she's not going to confess anything.
So she gets
So-
whacked in the face with a ladle a couple times.
So we go back. We jump back up north to Winterfell, and we see Reek bringing in some food for Sansa, and she starts flipping out on Theon big time.
Let me say this real quick. So this, I guess I was wrong last week when I said that I thought that Ramsay.
Yes.
You had a stroke.
When I when I
thought
thought that Ramsay was actually sitting in the tower, I guess
Yeah.
not, because Sansa was in that same room this time. So I thought that was the tower that I thought he was in that tall tower
Right.
that
We
they were
talked
supposed
about
to.
that. You
Right.
were wrong.
Well, but what I would have argued that until this episode.
Yeah. See, and you'd still be wrong.
So now,
This
so
is
now
the
I
first
know
time.
that I was wrong for sure.
Okay. We're glad you caught up with the rest of us from last week.
We watched the show. I mean, I don't know what you're doing the whole time.
Anyways, Theon's in there. He brings the food. She keeps calling Theon. He's like, "No, I'm Rick. Rick.
Rick.
Leave me
They're-
alone. I'm Rick. I don't want to get in trouble. I'm Rick.
Listen, guys, they called him Rick.
Rick. I'm Rick Greyjoy.
Rick Greyjoy.
I'm Theon's brother. I'm up from the Iron
Theon's
Isles.
gone.
Theon's out, so I'm taking this, but just call me Rick.
They called him Rick on the audiobook, right now.
Yes. Shut up, losers. Anyway, so they're talking. She threatens him. She's like, "I don't care what Ramsay did to you. I'd have cut your balls off too." And he's like, "But I didn't kill your brothers." She's like, "What? Double take, boom."
Who's it?
And he finally lets her know that, Rickon and Bran are alive, and Bran's hiding in a tree.
Well, he didn't tell her where.
I know.
It's
He
a
doesn't
Bran.
know where they. He doesn't know where they.
He doesn't know where they are. But that was so that was a big turning point because that's never been stated yet
Nope.
that it wasn't them. So any ideas where that's well? I guess you do.
Well,
Dan,
Ramsay knows. He told Ramsay.
right? But I mean, okay, but where I wonder what that's going to lead to.
Stuff.
Okay, thanks for that insight, Dan.
It's going to lead to things and maybe some other stuff as well.
I mean, I wonder if that will make her feel any differently toward.
Right. I wrote down
toward
like
Reek.
redemption with a question mark a little bit for him.
God, I don't know
because-
though, dude. I mean, if he were gonna get true redemption, that would have been 2 weeks ago.
He got pretty
yeah.
good. He's scared to say anything, man.
I think this scene's a lot more about her thoughts about her situation and her hope rather than anything about him. You know,
Right.
I don't think she's thinking much about, well, okay, well maybe he's not such a bad guy. I think she's thinking about, well, crap, I need to get out of this situation because I actually have family out there somewhere now.
Right.
Well, she's just shocked. Her brothers are alive. She's
Yeah.
like, oh.
Well, that's a good point too. That's probably more motivation for her now, as if being
Instead of being hopeless.
well, and instead of being like raped and stuff all the time isn't motivation enough. Now she knows that her brothers are out there.
Well, she knows that Jon Snow's out there too.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
John's not her brother.
Well,
Step brother.
still.
He's her brother from another mother.
Well, if
Quite maybe literally.
if the story and theory goes right, he's actually a cousin. So
There you go.
this is
so
Game of Thrones if it were in the South.
that's why Rick Greyjoy's hanging out now.
But-
not
and-
No, if they were in the South, they could hook up.
That's right. and I'm allowed to say it. Me and Tim are allowed to make that joke because we're in the South, so we've earned that. So nobody can get mad.
So any comments or emails, we've already heard from the South.
Send that to Matt.
Right. So I guess from there you go to Ramsey and Ruse. They're talking, chilling, doing some military tactics, figuring out what they're going to do. Roos is like, hey, we're going to stay inside. They can't attack us. We got food for 6 months. We're going to be cool. Ramsey's like, I'm crazy.
Yeah.
Send
I'm
me
going to
out.
go Navy SEALs.
Give me 20 of your finest men.
Ramsey's like, Wolverines! I need
See
20
the next
gorilla
episode,
fighters.
they're like ghillie suits or whatever, trying to cut through the woods. They got their sniper rifles.
Randy's like, I've got tauntauns. Doesn't matter. We'll go out in the snow. Get your tauntauns free.
He's from the South. He can't do anything.
That's right.
He doesn't know snow like we know snow.
We know snow. Gundam. Snow. Just saying.
Snow. So Ramsey makes a little moment there where he's just like, yeah, give me 20 dudes. We'll roll.
What's he going to do with 20 guys?
He's going to be crazy Ramsey and kill people.
He's going to poison
Stealthy.
the water hole.
Yeah, like special ops type
Yeah, I guess.
attacks.
What do they call them? The flay men?
The flayed men.
Flayed men, yeah.
That is their banner. So we go over there. Back to Danny and Tyrion talking politics, then start talking about whose dad's worse. My dad sucked because
No, my dad's worse than your dad. No, my
dad-
dad's worse than your dad.
Sucks. No, your dad sucks.
Yeah.
And she's still trying to decide if she wants him to be a council member. He's still, making his remarks like, "Well, if you're going to kill me, I don't want to stay around." Blah blah. But they get into a little talk about Varys and Jamie or. Tyrion just says straight up, he's like, I trust Varys. He's crazy and he has his things, but he's most probably one of the guys you can trust because he's always doing good for the kingdom. And even though Jorah was feeding him information, it's okay because Varys is using that for, I guess, a little good to play both sides, I guess, a little bit. So he stays, he saves his own neck. But Tyrion pretty much says, I trust him and Jaime. Those are the only two people I trust. And then she's like, all right, I'll go ahead and let you be my advisor. And then they talk a little bit about the fighting pits. And he's like, you're doing smart things. You open the fighting pits. That's smart. You're marrying a guy from over here. That's smart. And then she goes into her whole story about the Starks and the Baratheons and the Targaryens and the Lannisters are all spokes on a wheel. And he's like, oh, we've seen this before. Everybody tries to come and change it. She's like, I'm going to break the wheel, meaning she's going to tear down this whole monarchy thing and start, I guess, fresh.
Which that was the big. I've been waiting for that speech because we saw it in the promos like way back before the season started, and I'm going to break the wheel.
Yes.
So I was super excited to see them together. Because that was my original theory from way back was that, or actually kind of what I wanted was for Dany to be the queen of this of the entire place, the queen of Westeros, with Tyrion being her right hand.
Yeah.
And he's, or not right, her hand, the hand to the queen, I guess. So I kind of like seeing him play that role to her now, because I think she's like a hotshot rookie. She like he mentioned. I mean, she can come in and slaughter people, but she doesn't know anything about the game, and he can help her with that.
Gina made a good point in the chat. He's like, he finally got his alcohol back too.
Right.
It's a very good point.
But she actually cut him off. She's like, I want you to advise me while you can still speak in complete sentences.
Little does she know he could drink everything she's got and still
be
That's right. His tolerance is through the roof.
So it goes from there. We get back to Jorah. You have the guys training in the fighting pits. He throws the coin back at the guys like, hey, listen, you owe me, but let me go fight for the great fighting pit of greatness, and I'll fight there and I'll win, and let me fight for the queen, and then you can sell me for whatever you want. Pretty much. He's like, you own me.
And why does he want to do this?
This is the only way he can serve his queen.
Yeah, he's got a true allegiance to her, and he's going to prove it one way or the other.
Okay.
Yep.
His life's worth nothing to him if he can't serve her. So
Well, and he's got grayscale too, so he's kind of like, he's got screw it.
Right.
Yeah, but his main motivation is he loves Dany, pretty much. And Tyrion even says that earlier. He's like, I think he's actually in love with you, and that's true. You get that from the
He
books as
does.
well.
Yeah, for real.
And he's like crazy in love with her. So we go back to Cersei. Cersei's super happy fun jail time, and the NBA forward is in there with him. What is her name again?
Her name is Unella, and I got the name of the Meister. His name's Qyburn.
There it is.
Is he the mad scientist?
Qyburn. I think it's Qyburn.
Qyburn. I'm sorry.
Qyburn isn't Qyburn the one who trained Obi-Wan?
Is he?
Yeah,
That's Qui-Gon.
that's it.
Qui-Gon
Oh, sorry.
But he's the mad scientist. He's the one rebuilding. He's like making
Yeah.
He's down there making Frankenstein's monster.
Right.
Terminal Mountain. It's going to be this side. Robo Mountain.
Frankenstein's Mountain. That's what it is. Robo Mountain. So she comes in. She's like, confess. You get some water. You confess. Like, nope. All right. Spill the water. Walks out. Cersei's drinking off the floor.
And
I
I
love that Cersei just doesn't even break. She's just like, I'm gonna kill you so
She's like, all I'm doing
bad."
is sitting here thinking of ways to
about
kill you.
it, and it's just I'm going to talk through my teeth because it makes me sound like this. So we're going to die. I thought it was dope. Seriously, I thought it was a real big like symbolism. Her drinking off, like you're talking about a prison floor, water, and she was at the top, and that's totally rock bottom.
You, sir, get out of my head, because I had that same thought that it was very symbolic, her drinking off the floor.
It's rock bottom.
You
rock
guys get out of my head. I just wanted to be part of that conversation for a second there. Sorry.
Literal rock bottom.
So we go from there. That's the last jail scene for Cersei for the show. We get over there to Sam and Gilly. Sam's like, I'm kind of a stud now.
Yeah.
I got to tap that.
I
don't know if you guys know that.
swear. I wait for cheesy English sitcom laughter to come on in the background with Gilly.
I love Gilly. She's so simple. I love her
No.
to death. I'm gonna go get baby Sam now.
it's like, does it hurt? No. Well, I'm not the one that got punched in the face. That's what I just wait for.
I want a TGI Friday, TGIF sitcom of Sam and Gilly. Yeah. I want that from like 8:30 to 9, but then in prime time after the kids
Buddy
go to
cop.
bed from 9 to 10, I want Jamie and Braun buddy cop show.
Spend your Fridays in Westeros with. So yeah, they're sitting there chatting. Gilly, of course, being Gilly, she takes off. Ollie comes in. He's like, how can you let Jon Snow do all this, knowing everything that he's done? He's like, that Giants Bane guy totally is the one that led the raid on our village, and it wasn't even a battle. They just raided us and killed us. It seems like, Jon's done crazy stuff, and you have to make bad decisions sometimes. There's decisions that are very hard to make, whether they're good or bad, and that's what leaders have to do. And he's like, I trust him. Hopefully you can too.
Gotta know when to hold them. Gotta know when to hold them.
That's right.
And he said he always comes back, and so.
He's the Lord Commander. He's got to make really tough decisions. This is probably a super, super tough one because every one of those guys hates every one of those wildlings, which you'll hear that later in the John's Independence Day speech that comes up here in a little bit, which is amazing. So we go from there. We get over to John sailing the ocean blue with the wildlings. The land at the name of the town. So this is where it completely breaks in the book. And we found this out at the end. This next part is mentioned in the books about a huge travesty that happens here. And so none of this that's coming up is in the book. That's this whole second half of the show this time.
But it happened, right?
It does. There is an incident there, and there's a tragedy that happens there, but you don't see it or hear it in the book or anything like that. And Jon Snow, just like they said at the end, never goes to this place.
Right.
So everything from this moment on is not from the books. It's just the show taking some, which I'm okay with that.
Taking some freedom.
Yeah, taking some freedoms to do what they want to do, which is fine because they did a really good job with this whole section here. So John coming in, the Lord of Bones comes up, starts talking smack to Giant Bane. He stomps a new mud hole in him. Tells him to get all the elders together.
Does he kill him?
I don't know if he does it. I think he is because he's not at the elders meeting later.
Right.
And he not really around anymore.
Yeah, he doesn't move.
I think, he's dead.
Okay.
His name's Rattle Cage or something.
He scolded him.
It's
I had
like
it pulled up.
Yeah, it's like Lord of Bones, but I don't know his real name.
Hold on, it's right here. Hang on, I'll tell you what it is.
Keep
talking. Keep
Anyways, so
Skeletor.
I'll get you, Giant Bane.
It's Rattle Shirt. It's Rattle Shirt. It's what his name is. Rattle Shirt.
I don't. Is you sure?
I'm looking at the Game of Thrones.
Are you? Rattle Shirt.
Canon.
Come on. Are you looking at a funny site?
Why don't you have the viewers got
Rattle Shirt?
Matt, do you have the viewers?
Yeah,
it's not a He-Man character.
It's Rattle Shirt. Yeah, it's Rattle Shirt.
Anyways, So we go, just call him Lord of Bones. We're not calling it a rattle shirt on here. Um,
Dan, take the show.
Veto.
listen, he sounds like a He-Man character. He's like,
does. Well, I mean, he
many
is.
faces and rattle shirt will all attack. Ah, take that, He-Man.
That's a great Skeletor.
Thank you. So you go from there, get into the elders talking. Get into the elders talking, and this is where John has his Independence Day speech to them. They're all like, "You killed so many of us." Like, you killed 50 of my brothers just yesterday.
And I'm not
So
forgetting
back
them.
off, sucker. And pretty much just goes off on them and tells them, "You need to join us, or we're just all gonna die."
Yeah,
That's
pretty
pretty
much.
much the gist of it. It's like, there is no choice here. You could die on your own, or you could die with us. Whatever. Maybe we can stop them together. And then the greatness happens.
And then there was a small
Chaos
battle, and the episode just finished. It was weird. I don't know.
Yeah,
That was it.
That's it.
At
All
the
right.
moment,
Thanks for
Randy
watching.
Quaid flew the jet into the spaceship, and it was all over.
Yep.
So it gets to the next part where they're all loading up and packing up with the ones that want to go. So some of them in the council say no. They walk out. They're like, whatever, we're better than you. And they're packing up, getting everybody together, getting everybody on the boats, getting to the ships, and a fog rolls in. Very scary fog.
And they know what it means.
Yes. So everybody just runs toward the gate. The gates get shut because they have to, and everybody outside the gate pretty much becomes a walker right there. Boom. They're dead. They're out there, and then all the crap goes down. There's no point in me going step by step here. We can all
Right.
discuss this whole last part.
Yeah.
So
Um,
it was a great fight. I'm going to throw that out there. I thought it was good. They did a lot of the quick cam stuff where they jump from thing to thing just to make it think like it's, this massive battle. But like the part where John's moving through the crowd and cutting things down, and there's some good battling in there.
I like
think
that we saw the. Go ahead, Opie.
I was just going to say, I think we should point out that these White Walkers, like we're on the Walking Dead zombie kind of mindset, and these guys come in, and we're talking. This is some World War Z, fast moving, crazy, athletic fighting machines. These aren't mindless. These are like soldiers on crack.
well,
They don't feel pain.
they're crazy fighting machines that can't swim.
Right.
Listen, they're scared of water.
That's the only thing that was bothering me. Is like they can jump over walls and
Throw
all this
themselves
stuff.
off cliffs
They were climbing over they weren't like
But
leaping
apparently-
from the outside over the wall. They were jumping off the side of a mountain.
But
they can
apparently
do that.
they have to breathe because they don't want to go walk underwater.
Right.
I don't.
But anyway, no,
You
no, I
know,
like
mean,
I like that we got to see the hierarchy and the
Yeah.
we've seen the White Walkers, we've seen the Army of the Dead. We didn't really know what the
And
the leadership was or whatever. But now we see that the White Walkers are not only the leaders, but they're necromancers. So anybody they kill becomes more of the Army of the Dead.
well, you get the Night King, which was said after the episode. That's what his title is, I guess.
Yeah.
And you saw them once before this.
Right.
When the one wildling guy kept giving the children, if it was a male, to the walkers in the woods that they
Yeah,
would all
that's
stop with. And at the end of that episode, you see one of them carried back, and you see a council of White Walker dudes standing there, and they lay him
Right.
on the throne, and the baby becomes one. So that's what I'm guessing is if you're not killed and turned into one, you're kind of the hierarchy of the group. If you're actually killed, then these guys can, reanimate your body, but you're kind of the fodder. You're not the lieutenants or anything like that. So
Yeah.
yes, that was really good.
Well-
Anyway, go ahead, Matt.
And I was wondering about that because because every time I think of the big threat, I think of the White Walkers and how Sam killed the one with the dragon glass, but then when the town was first getting attacked, they just looked like skeletons or something like that. So I at first I had a little bit of trouble figuring out, are these the same group?
Well, it all depends.
Or
it's the same with zombies. It's a state of decay. I mean, newer ones are going to have flesh. Older ones are not going to have flesh
Yeah.
because they've been around for long. It doesn't matter because their
It's
brains.
just
Yeah.
it's a dead
It's
body.
but then you still got the White Walkers, like Tim said, the hierarchy. The White Walkers are controlling them.
And that's where
And
they
they're
come
solid
to rip
ice.
That's where they totally ripped off World of Warcraft, because that's the four horsemen from Naxxramas that was sitting up there. Everybody could see that, plain as day.
They're,
You not see the four horses?
they're the Death Knights.
Listen,
that are
I'm going to
made
go
of
ahead and put a
ice.
disclaimer. I'm going to put a disclaimer out there. OBC is one thing that might relate to something else, and automatically the whole thing has been ripped off. We're gonna state precedent on this by saying that he spoke of Harry Potter ripping off Lord of the Rings because
Well,
they're exactly the same show.
No, seriously. The four horsemen that were up on the mountain, do you think they were four specific ones, or they were just like,
No, I think they're all just the knights. And
you don't think that there is any symbolism for just four of them?
Well, I did think I did have the thought that maybe, they looked like the four horsemen of the apocalypse.
See, that's what I was thinking.
Which
My thing is, when
Or-
they brought the
or-
baby to that council, there were a bunch of them that looked the same. That were all half semicircled around. So
Okay.
whether they are all the same or they're different, pestilence, war, famine, go with the apocalypse horsemen here. If that's them,
The Baron,
that's fine.
the one of the,
Death.
Right, the one that wears the green cloak, there's that one.
his
But-
mount, his mount.
Right. No, so all Jon Snow has to do is split the party to keep the horsemen in all four corners of the room.
Right.
And so that way their stacking debuff does not happen and we can take them out. But we have
Giant
to
Spain, take him over there, and you gotta hold both of them.
you taught him off me when I cross. Sorry, we just went nerd on everybody on the stream.
because it wasn't nerdy before.
Nope. Shut up, Matt. Go back to your rattle shirt.
Anyway, okay, so
Anyway,
go ahead.
The fighting was excellent. I thought it was really well done. The part where the lady that was like, John, I'm on your, I don't trust you, but I trust Giant Spain. When she turns around and sees what's standing there, that was kind of creepy. All the little kids.
The kids,
The
yeah.
kid walkers.
Which-
Yeah, that was there.
So were those the sons of the guy?
I think it's just dead children up north.
Dead
I mean,
children. Yeah, they
there's
don't
people
have-
that die.
And then
that-
Rick Grimes comes in with his 45
shoots.
and shoots one of them.
No, so a lot of these White Walkers are just people who died of natural causes up north. They've just been reanimated. So, I mean, these children probably died of natural causes. They've just been animated back up
Yeah,
as
they
White
could have
Walkers.
been buried and then reanimated.
Yeah. So, I mean, he can do whatever he wants. I mean, all he has to do is raise his hands like Kane in WWE and just boom, he creates White Walkers.
So the big one of the big. Okay, so first of all, I loved the. It wasn't as long as last season, but I loved the long single take. The tracking shot with Jon Snow running through and cutting down undead, and then the giant popping out. But the big thing here is that apparently not only Dragon Glass
Yes.
can kill a White Walker, but Valyrian Steel.
I was about to
can
say,
too.
yeah, I knew he had
Yeah, we didn't
claw,
talk
and
about that.
I was going to look up to make sure it was a Valyrian steel sword,
that
which it
was-
is.
It was, yeah.
That's
That
what I
was
thought,
his.
because that was in the beginning, in the pre. I was like, why did they go back to all the way back to where he got that? And then now I see, because it wanted to remind you.
Well,
that
see, and that's. I mean, I love those. Previously on Game of Thrones, I love those because I forget what happens week to week. They do kind of make it. Just does kind of spoil it a little bit because when I saw that and they made the point of talking about the sword and it being Valyrian steel, I was like, okay, that's going to be significant in this episode. And then when they made the point of showing Theon not killing Bran and Rickon.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this must be where Sansa finds out. So
Yeah.
those previews are great, and I love them, but they can be a little spoilery
Yes.
because it's like, okay,
Yeah,
well,
they do.
they're going to bring that up in this episode, or else they
Yeah,
wouldn't
it
show
is bad. You can totally tell what stories they're going to follow right off the start of the show, right there, with like coming up, blah blah blah. But it's good to know that Valyrian Steel. I had no idea that the Valyrian Steel will drop a White Walker. It'll drop a Lieutenant White Walker, by the way.
I don't think we were supposed to know.
Yeah, and that's pretty cool because there's still other Valyrian swords out there. So Stannis carries one, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, doesn't Brienne
Stark
have one?
had one. Ned Stark had one. It was broken down into two swords to Jaime and Joffrey. It was what was the name of his sword? Ice. If I'm not mistaken, I can't remember the exact name, but that sword was torn down to make Joffrey the sword at his wedding, and then Jaime's got one as well. Those are the only ones we know
That's
of.
right. Jamie's got one. I thought Brienne had it, but
No.
It was Jamie.
Jamie Joffrey, whether he was buried with it or not, and maybe Tommen's now, and Stannis, I think, has a Valyrian steel sword.
Lavinia in the chat says that Stannis does not have a Valyrian steel.
Ooh, well then there you go. Never mind then. Thank you.
Thank you, Lavinia.
Yeah, she's apparently a residential Valyrian expert.
Nice.
Great.
So at least we know of a couple out there, and we see that they are good, and that might be good because you had the fall of Valeria?
Yeah.
Correct. A long time ago, and that might be of what has stayed off the White Walkers for so long. Was they had a kingdom? They may have fought these guys off, even though they're across the world from each other. But Valyrian still was better known, way thousands of years ago, whatever. And White Walkers haven't been seen since then, so that might have been part of it. But you also had the Targaryens who have dragons. We have dragon glass, so we know that'll hurt them as well. So, but. Anyways, very cool. The best part, and I loved this part, and they did it just like World War Z, was all those bodies coming off the side of the mountain.
Yeah.
That was so smart.
Yeah, that was...
I'm just like, that's awesome.
And actually, Tygo in the chat says Brienne has a Valyrian steel sword.
Well,
there you go.
I want to ask you guys a quick question. Did you notice this or think it was funny when it pans out? Kind of at the end when they're all on the shore with the Night King or whatever on the dock. Did you see how close the boat was to the dock?
Yeah.
Did you guys think that was funny? I was like,
I did.
Okay, because I thought that was kind of.
Yeah, they've been going away from the shore for like 10 minutes.
I was thinking the same thing. It's like,
The guys that row may have a bad shoulder, and he goes super quick.
Who was the dude that rowed? He was like no sense of urgency. I would have been freaking out. He was just in a hood. I thought the rowing person was going to be a walker.
I did too.
That would
they got on the boat. He's all covered up. He's going to pop up like, rah!
I was thinking, longest boat ride ever, because they just, for, 27 minutes, it was just Jon Snow and the White Walker just staring at each other lovingly.
Yeah.
Well, he was raising his hands up. He was doing the cane thing. He was about to crit White Walkers.
Lavinia, thank you. So Brienne has Oathkeeper. That's right. Jamie gave it to her. So
right.
that all came back to me now.
Yep.
Because she named it.
Yeah, I figured that. Yeah.
She named it
all
Oathkeeper
good
because
swords
she's
have
keeping
it.
her oath.
That's right.
That's right.
See, I don't know if you see how that connects, but
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for connecting.
Thanks for bringing that together.
Good. This is why he's on the show. He's kind of our fact checker.
That's right. So let me tell you what I thought was going to happen. I thought that all of the undead, I don't know what to call them, but I thought all of the undead were going to sink their teeth into the giant, and he was going to turn.
Yeah.
Oh, that would suck.
Oh, I was kind of thinking that too, a little bit. I thought he was going to collapse in the water and then come back up as a walker.
Let me ask you guys this: the walkers don't have to bite you or scratch you; they have to kill you.
You just have to die. Yeah. It's not like a zombie.
So that's the thing. I can't get my head out of traditional zombie mode, Walking Dead, all that kind of stuff. Because that's what I was thinking. It's like, oh gosh, they're going to scratch him and he's going to turn.
I totally thought that the Night King was raising his arms up and was going to freeze the ocean and freeze him.
I did too. I thought he was going to freeze everything and start walking out, or that he was going to raise like undead from underneath the water. I don't know what was going to happen.
Let's just end the entire show right now.
And gotcha. Now my guys can walk up there. It's frozen. We're good.
But I love again that this was before the attack. But when Jon Snow was talking to the wildlings, he made mention again about the real war. I can't remember exactly what he said, but when the real war starts, instead of all this silly Game of Thrones business, who's going to be the king or queen, down here in Westeros? Hey, there's a real threat up here. And he knows that it's coming, and I love that because when he first got there is a metric ton of wildling folk there, and you would think that they're all warriors. I mean, surely they could take down, a lot of them will die, but surely they could take down the White Walkers. But I mean, they just laid waste to everything, which just adds more credence to the fact that hey, we all need to team up. In order to stop
there's nothing they could do. I mean, they were fighting, but that doesn't do any damage to them. The only thing that kills them is the dragon glass or Valyrian steel, it looks like.
Burning them.
Or burning them. I almost thought that guy, the giant, swinging the torch, the big beam or whatever, and it had it on fire and went in. I was hoping he went to set the wall on fire. That was there. Because if they would have done that, they might have been able to survive a little bit longer at least and start burning all the houses down and whatnot. That would have kept the walkers back a little bit, or they would have been burning or whatever. So I was kind of hoping they did, but they didn't. I don't know if they just didn't. Most of them don't know that you can burn them, I'm guessing, to kill them all. But you got to remember there was a ton of people there, and I think part of that is from the attack on the wall. They all went there or were put there. And so you had like over 100,000 wildlings that were marching on the wall. It was the biggest army ever conceived behind the wall. So there was a crap ton of people there, and only maybe 5,000 got out.
Yeah.
So it's going to be going downhill from there.
Yeah.
That was what was left of the wildlings, right? Because all the clans had come together.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Is that it? I mean, are all the wildlings gone
Maybe
now,
more
except for the
wildlings
ones
up north
that
somewhere.
except
I
for the
don't
ones
know.
that left?
I do not know. I mean,
Well, there's got to be more giants somewhere.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure they have clans and stuff living in places way up north, something like that hasn't been touched or messed with. You never know. But I mean, he was moving them all down there because he wanted to get them across the wall, so that could have been all of them.
So what's the White Walkers' motivation though? Like, what are they? You
don't
know,
know.
are they making their way to the wall to attack the North, or
My guess is yes.
are they just? I mean,
World domination.
or is it one of those things where if you don't mess with us, we don't mess with? Well, obviously,
No,
that's
that's
not true.
No,
But
they-
I really don't know. Yes, Tina, the Night King did look really cool. I also agree. His nice
yeah,
he
he,
did.
he kind of looked like it reminded me
crown.
of
a rattle shirt.
no, not Rattle Shirt. I was gonna say,
maybe
I
right.
was
about
gonna say Darth Maul with his horns. So
Oh,
it was like,
yeah.
he was kind of a Darth Maul looking guy.
What were we going to say, Tim?
Lavinia says that the budget probably can't afford more giants.
Right, they can
true.
do one at a time.
Just the one.
The attack on the wall, we had like 6, and
Yeah.
now it's like,
Yeah,
let's do one this episode.
But that whole battle, what a huge shift. I mean, the episode was going along the way it always does. Things are happening, puzzle pieces are being moved, or seeds are being planted, that kind of stuff, and then all of a sudden there's just a giant zombie battle.
Well, what's awesome is you can tell by the seasons and how popular the show is getting by the budget that they're using. So in the first season, you had the battle between the Lannisters and the Starks, one of their first battles, and you don't see it. They don't even show it. They just
No,
go
right.
straight to the aftermath.
Tyrion just laying there, all that you
Talk
get
about
to see with dead body.
You go to the next season, you have the Battle of the Blackwater, and you see the ships explode in the small little dagger or whatever. And there's a few battles around the city or whatever, but it's nothing major. You get to the next season, and you have the battle at the wall. Now, this is getting bigger and more bold. You have the battles going on inside, the people climbing the wall. You have them attacking the gate down underneath. So you get in a bigger battle. Then you get to this season, and they've made it because they had like thousands of extras, and this thing was just a big budget, huge battle, 30 minutes long in the episode. It was just awesome.
Let me ask you guys something. Were you guys preparing for Jon Snow to die? Were you ready for him to die?
I was nervous about
No.
that.
I was ready. I thought he was gone. I did. I was like, this is it. 2 episodes left. Snow, and I wasn't looking forward. I didn't really spoilers or see anything. I don't know the story, but I was like, yeah, he's going down.
I
This is
was
it.
the whole time I was thinking, okay, I've got to get ready to make our reaction video.
Yeah.
Because I was nervous because just if it were any other show I would say he is everybody loves Jon Snow, he's the freaking he's Daryl on The Walking Dead, I mean he's totally fine, but nobody is safe on this show, and I was really nervous that
That's true. That is true.
I was gonna throw my headset through the window,
Right.
but thankfully.
It was cool seeing. Trying to think of any other really parts of it.
Oh, I did think that what's his name? Crazy red beard. What is his name? The
Giants
Giants
Bane.
Bane.
I thought he was gonna die.
Giants Bane. No, I thought such a big.
Yeah, I would have. Yeah.
That's one thing I think they brought into the elders to get the lesser
Yeah,
council members. Like,
somebody
hey,
like-
now you know this character. Oh, we took her out.
Yeah. If George R.R. Martin's not going to get into if they're going to start making shows before he gets the books out, they'll just kill who they want to kill. He would probably have killed 2 or 3 off or something.
Well, that's like the movie Kick-Ass. That's why the ending of that was so different, because they made the movie before the comic was finished.
Correct. Yeah.
So they didn't know how it was going to end, so they just had to do their own. So this show may actually I mean, I know there's been a lot of departure already, but that may happen.
They were tested by George R. R. Martin beforehand of did they know who John's mother was, and they had to answer correctly, or was it going to let me do the show? Yeah, right. They handed him a check, probably.
Right.
But they know the ending of where it's supposed to end, where it's supposed to go. So they know how it's supposed to finish up. They have all his notes. He's discussed it with them. They know how it's supposed to finish. So they can't go with the jetpack at the end of this one. Like they did with Kick-Ass.
There's not going to be Jon Snow on a jetpack.
Right. It's not going to be him flying around. No.
Oh, I remember that now. Gosh.
That was
I
terrible.
still love that movie. Anyways, the second one's really terrible. But
It's terrible.
I saw the second one. Yeah, this was that. This holy crap! I think this just because of that scene. I think this has to be my favorite episode of the season, and that may have been the best battle of the series.
Oh yeah, by
Yeah,
far I
no
think.
doubt.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. I loved the fight at the wall against the wildlings. I thought that was really well done.
Yeah, that was
and they
cool
were
because it
clipping around
was
to different groups fighting at different spots.
well,
of
and that
course-
one was great because the whole episode was just that.
Yeah,
And they had the one long tracking shot of Jon Snow doing awesome stuff.
Yep.
Anything with Jon Snow is pretty much the awesomest thing in the show.
300 type of
there you go.
shot.
We have a fanboy.
Yeah, we do.
When that ice sword hits with Jon Snow's sword, and he gives it that look like, oh. I
Yeah.
mean, have we not seen that in a movie somewhere where a good guy realizes there's a weakness, there's a chink in the armor or something, and all
I
of a
think
sudden
it was in a World of Warcraft cutscene, wasn't it?
No, it was in Harry Potter. They totally ripped off
Potter,
Harry
that's right.
Potter, which World of Warcraft ripped off
Arthas.
because they were all following.
But Harry Potter ripped off Lord of the Rings, so we must have seen it.
Yeah,
in Lord of
okay.
the
Comes
Wait
full
for the
circle.
leader. Wait for the Night King to break out the frost worm. Then you guys can suck it.
There you go.
You know that would be awesome if he did, though.
he did.
I'm
If
cool
he had
with
a
that. If
frost
he
worm,
breaks out of a Frostworm and they straight up battle in the air with Daenerys dragons, and then it starts a place called Ice Crown. I think that would be really
Citadel, and
yeah,
that's what
that'd be pretty cool.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, he was trying to show Jon Snow that. I completely agree. He was trying to show how big the army was, and that's why he had them all standing on there. But yes, so we see that. We see that the knight was a little bugged by seeing Jon Snow with the Valyrian steel blade there. He's kind of like, whoa, who's this dude? But
I just don't know how, seeing this battle and how ferocious the White Walkers are, I don't know how they'll be defeated. I mean, it's going to take all of Westeros and Essos, like all the different families.
I got 2 words for you. Dragon, fire.
there you go.
Well, yeah, it's
Yep.
going to have to be.
Well, yeah, that's what we've kind of been building towards, I think.
But here's the thing, though. Dragons are powerful, but there's only 3. So is that enough?
Well,
The
I mean,
dragon's
they're
like
big enough.
over
I
blowing
haven't seen the army.
fire in a
I haven't seen
row.
the Army of the Dead fly yet, so
Yeah.
they've
Yeah.
got the advantage there.
It's true. I guess they could just buzz the tower and just...
And we know they can't swim, so they're not going
Sure.
to be safe in the water.
Once Maverick gets done with Top Gun Dragon School, be up there and be able to
and
take
how
it
to
down.
train the dragon.
That's right. How to Train Your Dragon. Right? Hiccups coming in, and they're going to take them all out.
Yeah.
What was the other thing? Oh, they could do stuff to it. They can get themselves to a safe distance. Start at the wall. They can set up outside the wall perimeters that they can light on fire from arrows from the top of the wall. So there's things that they can do. Whether that'll take them all out, no. It's just kind of holding them off until they're actually destroyed.
Yeah.
Which fire can destroy them. So, I mean, you never know. There's ways they can do it using fire of what they have. They can dwindle the army, but it's very difficult for them to. It's pretty much a one-sided fight right now.
I just, and knowing that winter is pretty much there, I mean,
Yeah.
because if winter weren't there, like if it were summertime, like I guess the White Walker, they needed to be cold, right? That's why
Yeah.
they can only survive up in the north. But now that
They're-
winter's coming,
Pretty much solid ice, yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Like
that's
Frosty
the thing,
the
though. They
Snowman.
never showed up. So this summer, supposedly, I think from the book said it was 12 years long. So with that means 12 years ago it was winter, but they weren't there. They haven't showed up for 1,000 years. So something has awoken them and caused them to come back up.
That's true.
Whether it has anything to base, I know the comet in the book is kind of important. That little round sphere that you see flying through the air in the opening
Yeah.
theme. that has more relevance in the book. They talk about it more because everybody sees it as a different omen, and it could be something important that has caused the White Walkers to appear. You never know. You have the appearance of dragons now, and all this stuff that never happened, that hasn't happened for a very long time since everybody's seen a dragon. So I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that's just all of a sudden starting to spawn up. What's the catalyst to cause all that to happen? It's kind of.
I wonder if it's one thing.
You know what Westeros needs, don't you? You know who they need. They need Bruce Campbell to show up. That's who they need. With his boomstick.
Right.
I almost said Chuck Norris. They just need Chuck Norris.
Well, if anybody knows how to fight dead skeletons, it's
that's
Bruce
true.
Campbell.
That's true.
I thought that the glowing ball in the opening was maybe representative of the Lord of Light. That Melisandre.
Melisandre talks about the comet in the books as well. Like that's the Lord of Light bringing some kind of omen, and then the call and the Dothraki and all those people saw it as something different, and then the Sept at the Sept with all the Septons, there's they see it as something different, and the families see it as something different. Everybody has their own opinion of what that is, but it's a comet crossing the sky that everybody sees, and they've never even mentioned it in the show at all. They just show it in the opening sequence.
Right.
So whether that's the catalyst for it, I only read, got through the first three books, 3.5 books. So I don't know if that becomes a bigger deal later on.
Lavinia said that Rick from Walking Dead will handle it too.
That's right.
So I guess between him and Bruce Campbell, they're good.
And Brad Pitt.
And Brad Pitt, right.
Well, he'll just fly around asking, do you know what the word zombie means? I don't Did that come from an email from a file
right
here?
Thank goodness Rattleshirt's not a problem
Rattleshirt's going to be there with Skeletor, and they're all going to be there.
Do your Skeletor dance. Yeah, Jon Snow.
Yes, Jon Snow will take you down. Get you and your wall. So anyways, guys, I think that's all we can really talk about it. We loved it. We loved the episode. It was awesome. And we love He-Man as well.
Well, it was good to talk about an episode where something happened. I mean, it's been a setup after setup after setup.
Listen, stuff happens all the time. It's very simple. Okay? Right.
Yeah, there was a lot of action in this one, though, for sure.
There was, but we had to dive into and dissect this one. Like, what's going to happen?
Well, that's just because we're deep thinkers, all of us.
That's how I describe it. Yeah.
If you want to come back next week and see more of our deep thoughts about Game of Thrones, please join us, because we will be back. Anyways, guys, that's the end of our episode. We thank you for watching. Of course, Nerd Punch on YouTube. You guys are already here. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Come back again next time. And also, since we have more people in the chat, please let us know. We would like to continue doing this after Game of Thrones. We don't know what show to do. We're thinking True Detective. But if you guys have ideas or thoughts, please let us know. We'd like to know. And we can think of something really interesting that everybody wants to see. So that'd be kind of cute. Again, NerdPunch. You can go to nerdpunch.com. You can go watch us at twitch.tv/nerdpunch. Follow us on Twitter at nerdpunch. Wherever Nerd Punches are found, that's where we are. We will be back next week with our Valyrian swords and ready to take walkers. Cross swords? That happens off camera. So, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you later. Have a good night.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Tim. Thanks for being on.
Yeah, thanks for sitting in, Tim.
Ready to go.
Later.